Merton Council Cabinet. Thanks to those who are attending, both in person and online, and hope that everybody had a reasonable Christmas and a New Year. And if you did parties and things like that, you did them appropriately. Shall we get on with the business? So item 1 is apologies. The only proper apology is from Councillor Marcy Skeet. There's a number of members of Cabinet who are joining us online as part of this hybrid meeting, and they're free to participate, but votes will be from within the room. Item 2, are there any declarations of interest? Before I start. That's no, so thank you for that. Item 3 is minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of December 2021. Can they be agreed? That is agreed. Okay, actually, just before I go on to item 4, I forgot to just mention, of course, to pay tribute to Councillor Tobin Byers, who is also not attending this meeting because he's agreed to step down from the council to take up a really, fantastic career opportunity for him. Tobin's been a great friend for many years and will continue to be a very good friend, hopefully for many years to come. And I would just pay my tribute to him by saying that his command of all of the portfolios that he's covered has been almost unparalleled, really, but also the good humour and the fun that he's created, and the sense both within councillors and officers that they want to achieve things for him has really shone through throughout his time. So we wish him well. He's not going to be a stranger to Merton because he's still living here, and we wish him all the very best in his future career. Anyway, that out of the way, we move on to item 4, which is the adoption of Merton's housing strategy. And leading on that, I have Councillor Martin Welton.
Thank you, Chair. I formally move the adoption of Merton's housing delivery strategy. Over the past year, the consultancy Campbell Tickell undertook work on behalf of Merton Council to develop a draft housing delivery strategy as one of a range of actions Merton is undertaking to increase the supply and the quality of new homes. This included work research on Merton's housing supply and interviews with registered housing providers and others involved in housing supply within the borough. Following Cabinet approval in last July, to consult on the draft strategy, public consultation took place between the 26th of August and 7th of October, and we received a number of representations, and I would like to thank the people who have made representations on the draft strategy. The strategy looked at the following questions. What does Merton need in terms of housing? What are the barriers and constraints to delivery of new homes? Delivering the right kinds of new homes in the borough based on the research we have undertaken in terms of the types of tenure that are needed. Partnership, we know that is absolutely essential for us as a council. Actions we can take in terms of direct intervention, density and intensification. We know if we are to get more homes delivered, then housing developments do need to have increased levels of density, especially in terms of getting affordable levels of housing. Housing for particular needs, specialist homes, homes for older people, but also as well people with disabilities. Using and improving the existing stock in the borough, empty homes, and also as well governance and decision making. Whilst Merton has the lowest number of people in temporary accommodation of any London borough at 220, and I would like to pay an outgoing tribute to Steve Langley, who will be leaving Merton Council after 48 years next week, and his work in achieving that statistic. So in some parts of London, the figure is over 4,000. As a council, we have 9,000 people on the housing waiting list, and we received less than 200 nominations from housing providers last year. We know that housing supply is a huge challenge. The housing delivery strategy emphasises the needs for new homes in the borough and the mechanisms for that delivery. The housing strategy is in addition to and will work alongside other policies and strategies that we have developed. In particular, Merton's local plan, which is now with the inspector, Merton's climate strategy and action plan, an update of which is coming back to Cabinet next month, the homelessness and rough sleeping strategy, but also as well our housing enforcement policy. Merton faces challenges in delivering these. We are one of only 4 councils in London that no longer owns any stock of its own or manages any social housing. In addition, currently 25% of housing in the borough is privately rented. This is around the average for London. The Mayor's London plan requires Merton to deliver a very challenging target of 980 new homes per annum as part of London's share of 53,000 new homes. Currently, we are delivering around 400 homes. For a council which has stock transferred, we have limited land available for development. Around 24, mostly small sites are identified within the general fund. But even if there were suitable sites, the council has no access to a housing revenue account and borrowing opportunities that other boroughs are using to develop new social rented and other affordable homes. At last month's Cabinet, we agreed to dispose of several sites for housing, partly to increase the number of affordable homes. This includes the 4 Moranton sites, where planning approval for a total of 93 homes has been achieved. Cabinet's aim is to secure 100% affordable housing, preferably at social rent, at the Cannons, Rayleigh Gardens, Elm Nursery and Farm Road. As the council has already achieved planning permission for those sites, it means that we're in a much better position in order to get those places developed. As a council, we closed a housing revenue account in 2012 with the borrowing capacity that went with it. While the process for this is simple, only requiring the council to have a stock holding of 199 or more homes, if we needed to have a HRA, it would require significant upfront cost and a long lead-in time. Cabinet has extensively examined whether to re-establish a HRA, but at the moment the economics do not stack up given the setup costs and the limited land holdings we retain as a council. As part of the housing delivery strategy, we are also looking at the establishment of a housing investment fund, consolidating resources, including the rights to buy receipts still available under the stock transfer agreement, commuted sum, prudential borrowing, new homes bonuses, and Section 106, and to use this to invest strategically to create the desired mix of housing types, sizes, tenure, and affordability. Finally, alongside thanking Campbell Tickell for the work, I would also like to pay this opportunity of thanking all the future Merton team who have contributed to this report. I ask, therefore, that Cabinet adopts this tonight. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Walton. The lead officer on this report on housing delivery is Chris Lee. And Chris, was there anything you'd like to add to Martin's instructions?
No, nothing to add, Chair. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm not aware of, I can't see any other questions on this, and Councillor Walton has introduced the subject very extensively. There's also by no means the first time that we've brought this issue to Cabinet or elsewhere in the council. It's also been obviously a key piece of work in my time as leader, making sure that that we're on target for housing delivery. The strategy was first published in July. We've taken on board the consultation that's taken place since, and all of the work that's gone on before, including scrutiny task groups. It's in addition to other work that we've done, for instance, in converting the Moranton sites agreeing that we would no longer be using the Moranton sites for private rent, but using the costs that the councillors paid for there on planning, architecture and consultation to enable a housing provider to provide affordable housing to our residents instead. That's a very important development for us, that those sites become affordable. But with those points made, are we able to agree recommendation A, that Cabinet adopt Merton's housing delivery strategy and action plan? Can that be agreed? That is agreed. Thank you. So now we'll move on to item 5, which is the Merton 2030 strategic framework and approach to delivery. The lead member on that is Councillor Owen Pritchard. Owen, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. So just over a decade ago, this council agreed on the July principles as a means of steering itself and setting the organisation's direction. Over the subsequent decade, the ABCD of austerity, Brexit, COVID and increased digitisation have very much changed what people need, what people want and what we can do and how we do it. Therefore, about 18 months ago, this council decided that it was time to listen again and set new objectives. And this very much is what that paper is about. This paper is about. What this paper is asking is to approve a strategic framework, strategic priorities, guiding principles and delivery objectives for the next 8 years. It is noting that there is further work to be done because these things are dynamic and more work must always be done in adding to them. And it also asks you to agree for an annual update, which will be provided to full council. But most importantly, now is the time to communicate this strategic framework to our residents as a direct response and show that we are listening to what they told us last year. Chair, I ask you to approve this paper.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. The lead officer on this is again Chris Lee, the Director of Environment and Regeneration. Chris, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Nothing further to add, Chair. Thank you.
That's fantastic. I don't think there are any further questions on this. So, Chris, through you, can you pass on our gratitude to all the staff who've helped to make the Your Merton exercise one of the biggest consultation and engagement exercises in Merton's history, to enable it to go ahead and to obtain and collate such useful information that will help us for years to come as Merton comes out of the COVID period, or hopefully comes out of the COVID period. If you can pass that on, I'd be very grateful. Thank you to everybody for your involvement in that. Can we agree recommendations A to E? They are agreed. So thank you, and thank you to Owen for that as well. I should have said as well, thank you, Martin. Would you please thank the officers in particular for the housing delivery strategy as well. So we're just going to move on now to item 6, which, and I'm happy for it to be taken with item 7, if that's convenience, the business plan 2022 to 2026 and the financial monitoring report for the period up to the 8th of November. And the lead member on that is now also Councillor Owen Pritchard. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair, he says through gritted teeth. First off, I just want to say thank you also to Tobin for the work he's done and the service he's given this borough and this community. And I'm delighted that he's going off to continue public service in a new way, because that's what it's all about. And I'm very pleased for him. This first paper, the business plan update, just asks that we agree the latest amendments to the draft capital programme. It also asks us to note the provisional local government finance settlement and consider and approve the draft capital strategy and treasury management strategy for the next year. Important to note that further updates are expected in February. Agenda item 7 is just a financial report and update after period 8. And to note that the outturn variance has increased to 7.358 million, a decrease of just over 1 million compared to last month. Again, we expect numbers to be adjusted possibly between now and over the coming months as we get more clarity on a number of issues. I ask you to approve both papers, Chair.
Thank you so much, Councillor Pritchard. And the lead member, the lead officer on this item, on both these items, is Caroline Holland, the Director of Corporate Services. Caroline, was there anything that you'd like to add?
Thank you, Chair. I suppose just to draw your attention to what we're still expecting to come to future meetings. So the final workings through the settlement based on our business rates calculations, and also if we're successful with the outcome of our safety valve meetings with the DfE for our DSG deficit, that could have a significant impact both on the medium-term financial strategy and also on the financial monitoring outturn position. We're waiting still to hear. We were told mid-January. I'm hoping that their forecasts as to timings are better than sort of normally settlement days, which are sort of summer and it comes through sort of very late on, but we wait to hear on that. With regards to the financial monitoring report, just to give you some assurance that we did receive project plans for those schemes where full slippage has been requested, but we will be keeping a very close eye on those schemes during the course of next year's monitoring to make sure that they do progress according to the project plans that have now been submitted for our consideration. You will see also in the monitoring report that the cost of COVID to the authority has come down marginally due to an improvement in business rates collection, but still significantly short of where we were pre-pandemic. So that will have an impact on the MTFS going forward with collection fund shortfalls, and that will be part of the update for the February report. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you again, Caroline, and I don't believe there are any further questions. So if, once again, I know how hard you and your team work, Caroline, so please pass on our gratitude to them for the work that's gone into the business plan, or what's often described as the budget, but also the hard work that all teams across all parts of the council do with financial monitoring to make sure that we're spending the money effectively. The business plan is currently going through the scrutiny process last week on this. I'm pleased to say the chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Commission, Councillor Peter Southgate, is here observing us this evening, and welcome to him, and good luck with your work. The business consultation, as I said, is going to take place shortly. Obviously, there's lots of uncertainty still regarding the council's finances and local authorities' finances in general. But thanks to the good management of the team here, it does appear that, and their hard work as well, it does appear that we're in a better position than perhaps we might have feared at the beginning of the pandemic. Obviously, we want government to listen to our concerns and to ensure that we are fairly funded for the future after many years of grants being cut. But I'd like to thank everybody at the council for their hard work in getting us to where we are at the moment. That being said, can we agree to recommendations 1 to 3 on the business plan, and recommendations A to C on the financial monitoring report? Those are all agreed. Thank you very much, everybody. There's no other items on the agenda. So thank you everybody for coming and taking part.